flushing the lines out, letting the hot water heater, or the water heater, it's not a hot water heater, letting the water heater fill up. That's about 40 gallons. And we're also testing our gas line, our propane line. You can see right there, it's holding steady. It hasn't lost anything. It's been about an hour now. I think the code only requires a 30-minute test. We don't have inspections, but I do want it to be safe. So now I think most of the air is out of the lines. The hot water heater is probably full. So we'll give this a few seconds and we will shut it off. I haven't heard any air coming through in a minute or so, so let's shut these off. So the water's off and we don't see any leaks. We tested it the other day and we did have one leak right there at the end where there's a plug in there. It was just a small drip. So I replaced that plug. All of our lines go across through the ceiling. You can see where we tapped in to the hot and cold water trunks. The hot and cold water trunks are 3/4 inch. Coming down to all the valves is 1/2 inch. So it'll build up a little pressure. And there's a bathroom sink, goes up there. This is our main water coming in. It is 1 inch and it goes up, tees into the cold water trunk, and the cold water trunk comes over here, comes down and goes into the water heater. And this other one, the cold water goes in the water heater. This one comes out of the water heater hot, and then that goes back up to the hot water trunk up there. There's our shower head, our valve. None of that's leaking. Our toilet supply, water supply is not leaking. So we are going to leave this and the gas pressure gauge. We're going to leave them pressured up for probably, I don't know, at least a couple more hours, just to make sure nothing's going to bust loose or anything. I'm really impressed with this Uponor Pex A system. It was very easy to install. When you make a mistake, you just cut the connector off and you can reuse the fitting and just do it again. It's so much faster than sweat and copper. It's I don't know if it's faster. Yeah, I think it's faster than doing Pex B with the steel bands. But we're gonna let this sit for a while, see if there's any leaks, and if there's not, then we'll get to insulating. We're gonna insulate these pipes with pipe insulation because this is a wall that goes out into the shop. The shop won't be heated, so we want to make sure that there's no way, or do everything we can to prevent any of these lines freezing. They're not on a wall that goes outside, but they're on a wall that goes into the shop. And while we do plan on putting a heater in the shop, and we won't be using it all the time, probably just when we're working in the shop. So anyways, we'll be back in a couple hours and see if everything held. Well, we thought we had a leak for a minute, but turns out these valves have a bleed screw on the top, which was not closed all the way. So it sprayed water on the wall and down the water heater, and the pan did its job. It caught the water. This pan is plumbed to the outside. You can see the fitting in the back that goes straight to the outside. We're probably going to put some type of screen on that outside so bugs can't come back in. But this is how we plumbed our hot water heater. And yes, this Uponor Pex is rated, I believe, at 80 psi. It's rated for 180 or 190 degrees Fahrenheit. So if this water heater ever gets over up to 180, 190 degrees, we got more problems than the PEX holding up. So I still got to plumb in the pressure relief, plumb it down into the pan. But this is our PEX connections to the hot water heater. Those are our two valves up there. Those are Pex A specific valves. The ends are for Pex A. So there's our connection for the hot water heater. We're not going to crank this up yet until we get all the plumbing done inside. So no sense in hooking up the power yet. So anyways, maybe I'll show you how the PEX tool works. Like I said, it's super simple. The Uponor Pex A. It's super simple, easy to do. Didn't take me but a few hours to do all the plumbing. So I'll show you the tool, show you how it works, and while we're waiting on the to see if anything leaks. Okay, I'm going to show you how the Uponor Pex A system works. We bought a tool that was kind of expensive. It's close to 300 bucks, but we're doing our shop, our house, and probably another house when we build a house for my son. So I think it was worth it. We can probably sell it for half of what we gave for it. But anyways, this is the tool, how it comes. Can you see it? This is the tool, how it comes. It does come with the tool for 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, and 1 inch. So basically what you do, this is the tool. It takes these, it's a Makita, takes these little batteries here. So you stick that in there, and you take whichever tool you want to use. Right now we're going to use a 3/4 inch. You just screw it on there, run it a couple times. Oops, getting it going. Oh, I locked it. I had it locked. Anyways, this is the tool. I go through it a couple times. You can see it expands. So let me show you how this works. This is just a scrap that I had to cut off because I made a wrong connection. Anyways, you need whatever size PEX you're going to use. This is a 3/4 inch Pex A, and made by Uponor. And you need a clean, what do you call it? Clean level cut. So I usually just use PVC cutters, and I hold it square and just give you a clean level cut. And these are the the expansion rings, and these have some little tabs. Let me see. On this side, it's got these little stops here that you want that to be to the outside. So you just put this on here, make sure it's seated all the way. You get your fitting, and Milwaukee suggests that while you're expanding this, you turn it every time it expands, so that you can see when it opens up, you have these little lines. If you leave it in the same spot all the time, there's a possibility you could get a leak. So they suggest you turn it while you're stretching it. So you're going to expand this. You just stick it in here, and it just expands it a little bit at a time, and you turn it. Until it goes all the way to the bottom. Now you do it 2 or 3 more times once it gets to the bottom. And you put that down, and you only have a few seconds to put this in. Just put it in, hold it for about 30, 40 seconds. And what's going to happen is this ring is going to shrink back down around this barb. So see, it's already tight. It'll keep contracting back to trying to get to its original shape. And the other thing is, you can reposition this and it's not going to leak. So if you put it in and you're a little bit off on your angle, you can reposition that, and it's not going to affect your seal here at all. In fact, it might, I don't know, don't take this as gospel, but it might actually make it better by going around in that groove that this barb is going to make. So you can reposition that, but you can't get these things apart. You actually have to cut that ring off to get them apart. And we did our whole tiny living area in the Pex A, the Uponor Pex A. And like I said, Matt Reisinger did a video comparing Pex B, Pex A, copper, and something else on burst pressure. This has a burst. Don't quote me on this, but I believe in the video it had a burst pressure of close to 700 psi before it burst. So I'm not worried about this, bursting, even being frozen. He did test freezing them, freezing copper, Pex A, Pex B, and the only one that broke was the copper. And the other thing about Pex A, especially the Uponor Pex A, is if you kink this, which is really hard to do, but if you bend it and you kink it, I can't even get this small piece to kink, but if you kink it, it's repairable. You can take a heat gun and heat it up until it goes back to its original shape and hold it there and let it cool down, and it's supposedly just as strong as before it got kinked. So I don't know if that's true or not. That's what the manufacturer says. Matt Reisinger, if you haven't watched some of his videos, he's a home builder. He does a lot of high-end stuff that most of us can't afford, but he does have a lot of good information on his channel. But supposedly you heat it up, you get it back to its original shape, you let it cool down, and it's just as strong as before you kinked it. So it is repairable. Pex B is not. Once it's kinked, you got to cut it out and replace it. But like I said, this is still repositionable. It's strong. We had one minor little drip when we pressurized our system, and it was where there was a plug at the end of the trunk line. And I don't know if it was the plug that was bad or maybe nicked or something, but I replaced the plug. The leak is gone. So that's the Uponor Pex A system. It's really super easy to do. You stretch it for about 15 seconds with this. You stick your fitting in, let it go back to its shape, and it's strong. You're not gonna have any problems with your plumbing. So anyways, that's the Pex tool. A little bit pricey. I don't know if you can rent them someplace or if you could borrow one or whatever. They do have a handheld one, it's got long handles like this, and you have to crank it to get it to stretch. I didn't want to do that, and we're doing 3 buildings, so I thought it was well worth buying the tool, and after we're done with it, maybe we can sell it. I don't know, but that's all there is. And you have to put a little bit of grease. They give you the grease that they said, and a really thin layer on this, on the piston here that stretches it. You put a really thin layer on there before you put the dies on there. So anyways, that's Pex A, the Uponor Pex A, and that's how you install it. And we did our whole tiny living area like that. And we'll see you in a little bit when we check back on the pressure on the plumbing system and on the propane system. Okay, so it's been over an hour. We still don't have any leaks on the plumbing. Pressure's holding steady on our propane lines. So we're gonna start insulating all the pipes with these, look like pool noodles. But we're gonna start insulating all the pipes and then insulate the whole wall, put the insulation in the whole wall with the plumbing.